Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing my top 20 countdown to my favorite comic book runs of all time. This is going to be a 4-part video because, well, it's easier for me and it'd probably be easier for you to watch it in parts rather than one big bulky video at once. So with that said, what is a comic book run? For me, the definition of a comic book run is the amount of time a writer has with a character or a title, their work on that title. An example of this, and this may or may not be in the countdown, but Jeph Johns' run on Hawkman, or Jeph Johns' run on The Flash, or Grant Morrison writing for Batman. Something to that effect. You know, it's the amount of time that a writer has with a comic book or its character. So before I start this off, there's 3 things kind of that you need to know. I am breaking it up in parts, so it's going to be 5 parts of the, 5 runs on each video. Second thing is there's going to be no Star Wars comics in this. I love all the Star Wars comics to death, but many of them are adaptations of Star Wars novels, so if I did the Thrawn trilogy, who do I give credit to? The person that originally wrote it in the novels, Timothy Zahn, one of the best Star Wars writers, or do I give it to the person that adapted it into comics? To avoid confusion, I'm just going to not have Star Wars on this. And lastly, these are my opinions on what I think are my favorite, not necessarily what I think are the best. If you don't agree with this, if there's some writers on there that you don't necessarily like, well, screw you, it's my countdown. Well, I don't want to sound mean, but some people get awfully defensive and offensive of certain writers. So with that said, let's start off with number 20 on the countdown, and that will be Gardner Fox run with the Justice League of America. I'm showing you the Showcase Presents stuff because it's probably the best way to show you, but Gardner Fox is, the Silver Age master, and he brought the Justice League into his existence, or at least was a contributing member to it. There were a few people, but I like to think he was the main writer. And whether you like Silver Age or you don't, you really have to appreciate these, and I really love these stories. This is Justice League at its rawest. You really get to see how the team works so well, its origins, the core members. This is some really fun Justice League stories, and some of my favorite Silver Age stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the Silver Age. Don't think that I'm a fanatic about it. It's very campy, and it's really hard to read some Silver Age stuff. But this stuff is really enjoyable, and I would recommend it to people, especially if you want to see the origins of the Justice League of America. But Gardner Fox does a good job with the team. He really puts it into its element and sets the foundation for future Justice League stories to come. So that was number 20. Coming in at number 19 would be Frank Miller's run on Batman. This consists of Batman Year 1, The Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight Strikes Again, and All-Star Batman Robin, The Boy Wonder, which I'm just going to shorten up to All-Star Batman. Now this is actually lower in the countdown than I think a lot of people will expect. Though probably a lot of people thought this would be higher. But I have to put Frank Miller at number 19. I like his stuff with Batman. Batman Year 1, one of my all-time favorite Batman stories. Dark Knight Returns, such a great story. But, his latest stuff really kind of brings it down. It's still good writing with All-Star Batman and Dark Knight Strikes Again, but it doesn't feel like Batman. It feels like he's just writing his other comics over again. This feels like Sin City, kind of, in a Batman atmosphere. Or, if not that, it just doesn't feel like it has a Batman feel to it. Dark Knight Strikes Again is good, and it's a little bit more forgivable than All-Star Batman, but still, Frank Miller, great writer, and this is great writing. I just feel as though he's lost touch with the character recently, so I'm putting him a little lower on my countdown. I know there's going to be some Frank Miller fanatics out there that will be like, well, he's still good. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying that, with Batman, he started off fantastic, and his latest stuff isn't as good, but it still deserves to be on my top 20. So, Frank Miller's run on Batman. With that said, we're moving on to number 18, and that would be Dan Jurgens' run on Booster Gold, and to a lesser part, Jeph Johns, but mainly Dan Jurgens' run, which consists of Showcase Presents Booster Gold, the first, I believe, 30 or 25 issues. I don't quite remember. Booster Gold 52 pickup, Booster Gold Blue and Gold, Reality Lost, and the stuff being written now because I believe Dan Jurgens is still on the title, but this is just what I have in trade to show you. Booster Gold for me is like my guilty pleasure. Dan Jurgens does a really good job just encompassing the stuff that makes Booster Gold great. You know, he's selfish, he's egotistic, he's a money whore. You know, it's just fun, and he really does such a great job. You know, the first 25 or 30 issues of Booster Gold encompasses it here. I mean, with the exception of the weak supporting characters, it's still fun. You get a laugh out of it. It's just great. And then when Jeph helped him out and joined the team with 52 pickup and Blue and Gold, we get a little bit more of a serious Booster Gold, but still fun. And then Dan Jurgens, still on the title, brings him back to his roots with Reality Lost. So Dan Jurgens really knows how to work Booster Gold, and if you don't know who Dan Jurgens is, he's primarily known for Booster Gold, but he's done work such as The Death of Superman, Zero Hour, and other stuff. So he's a pretty good writer, very capable writer, and I enjoy his work on Booster Gold. So putting that down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How does that work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, whatever. So that was number 18. Coming in at number 17 is going to be, I'm not going to pull anything out, but Jeph Loeb's run on Superman. Now, some people will get mad because of Jeph Loeb being on the countdown. I can't comment for his work in Marvel, but I think Jeph Loeb is a pretty capable writer when it comes down to Batman and Superman. And the reason why I'm not pulling out any specific stuff for Superman Jeph Loeb is just because it's kind of scattered around, but he kind of joins the title, and I believe No Limits. Is that for all seasons? I think it's No Limits, and then he kind of worked through until Our World's at War. He knows the character, he knows how to work Superman. I really enjoy Jeph Loeb's run on it. Although it's not as good as some of his other stuff with DC, it's still one of my favorite runs for Superman. So with that said, moving on to number 16, which would be, again, revisiting Jeph Loeb. It will be Jeph Loeb's run on Superman Batman, which consists of Public Enemies, Supergirl, Absolute Power, and Vengeance. With the exception of Vengeance, which I thought was not that good, very weak. All this stuff, fantastic writing. Public Enemies, just a fun story. One of the most rereadable stories for me. I can reread this and never get bored. It's such a great story. Supergirl was one of my favorite stories. It introduced a character that I really love, a fresh new Supergirl. Absolute Power, such a great story, a new twist on the Superman Batman. And then Vengeance wasn't really that good. It was more confusing than anything. But on a whole, Jeph Loeb did a great job with this title. A lot of people complain about Public Enemies, about, you know, how Lex Luthor, why wasn't he beat with the power of the press like he was being portrayed as Superman and all that junk. If you actually read Superman and President Lex Luthor, they foreshadow the events of Public Enemies. Batman outright says, it's going to be you and me taking Lex down, so you can't really say that. I mean, the only thing I have to complain about in Public Enemies is, what is it called? The giant robot, but it's Toyman, so I let it slide just a little. But Jeph Loeb really knows Batman and Superman, and he really knows how to work them together. Just fun stories, really rereadable stories, and I recommend at least the first 3 volumes to people. So I'm going to put that down, and that's the end of part 1. I'm going to stop the video here, and we're going to go into part 2. So see you in just a bit.